Rays and Red Sox in a matchup that takes us back to one of the most exciting season finales in recent history.
Last year, as the regular season came to a close and the Red Sox were looking for a postseason berth, Robert Andino delivered a walk-off single to give the Orioles the win. 3 minutes later, Evan Longoria put one over the left field fence to give the Rays the victory and the AL wild card. Then last night, the rivalry opened a new chapter as the benches cleared and tempers flared in an emotional Rays victory. And welcome to Baseball Night in America on Fox. And tonight from Fenway Park, it's over 80 degrees. And it's the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Boston Red Sox. And welcome, everyone. Dick Stockton, along with Brian Anderson, who pitched in the big leagues for 13 years. And, it never ceases to amaze what happens with the bad blood that we have between these two clubs. And last night was no exception. But you can't take away, Brian, from the great pitching duel we have today with David Price and Josh Beckett.
Yeah, Josh Beckett has not been the overpowering pitcher that you've been used to seeing, but he is savvy, has a great feel for how to set hitters up. And you look on the other side, David Price, he absolutely is overpowering, but what separates him is the fastball command and the drastic improvement of his secondary pitches.
It certainly has been a topsy-turvy division. The Red Sox and the Yankees have been down. The Orioles, the Rays, and the Jays are on the upswing. It's a tight race. Every divisional game looms large. It's the Rays and Sox under the Fenway lights next on Fox Baseball Night in America. Ready to start the game between the Rays and the Red Sox. And the opening pitch will be brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And the Rays at 28-18, one game behind the Orioles, who playing the Royals. And right now the Orioles are losing, so the Rays have an opportunity to move into a tie for first place. And the Red Sox can't get over 500. They had a chance last night, but they're one game under in fifth place. And Joe Maddon, who is the manager outside the box without question, has done a lot of things, and one of them is to put a slumping player in the leadoff spot. And Carlos Pena moved into that spot after going 0 for 19, including the first two at-bats on Wednesday, and he has responded in a big way. So Pena, in 3 games, 4 for 12, 2 homers, 4 runs batted in, and will lead off against Josh Beckett, who's 4-4 on the year, making his 9th start of the season. And the first pitch, a fastball in for a strike. Of course, Joe Maddon has done this before with Evan Longoria and Matt Joyce.
Well, and he loves the fact Carlos Pena's got the high on-base percentage. And you know what? When you're used to hitting in the 4-hole and you're struggling and he all of a sudden throws you up in the leadoff spot, you're excited, reinvigorated.
Swung on and missed. And no balls and 2 strikes. Josh Beckett, who has emerged as the top pitcher on this staff right now. No balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Pena. Check swing, fouls it off.
Well, let's take a look at a scouting report on Josh Beckett. Stick to the plan. You go back to 2010. He has been absolutely dominant against this Rays ball club. 3-0 record, an ERA under 1, and holding them to a 137 average, and work up and down. We know that he's going to move the ball around the zone, but he's very good working the fastball down, up, allows that curveball to be much more effective.
No balls and 2 strikes. And the curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. The Red Sox had the shift on. Beckett didn't need it as Pena goes down for the first out of the game. And here is tonight's starting lineup for the Braves, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. So after Pena, B.J. Upton batting second in center field. Matt Joyce will be in left. Ben Zobrist in right field hitting cleanup. Luke Scott will be the DH. Drew Sutton at third base. Sean Rodriguez will play second. Jose Molina behind the plate, and Elliott Johnson at shortstop batting ninth, as Upton hitting .304, stepping in with 1 out, and he fouls the first pitch. He has really turned into the catalyst as of late, and this was a .500 team when he came back off the disabled list, and the Rays went from there, winning 12 of the next 14 games.
Well, B.J. Upton coming back into that 2-hole. He's very streaky, and he will be because he's got a lot of moving parts in that swing. But, boy, when he is hot, ride it.
And he is hot. Broken bat and a soft liner handled by Pedroia, who is playing deep to begin with in right field, and that is the second out. And you're looking at a Red Sox defense brought to you by Scott's, and they are #1 in the league with only 19 errors.
Well, and you have Adrian Gonzalez out in right field, his first start in right field here at Fenway Park, and that's to keep Will Middlebrooks over at third base in the lineup, which then forces Kevin Youkilis over to first base. We just saw a nice play there by Pedroia at second. And
it's the first time Gonzalez playing right field at Fenway Park, and Bobby Valentine doesn't think that's going to be a problem, although right field has been the tough field here before. Here's Matt Joyce, hit a grand slam homer last night, batting .283. 9 homers and 28 runs batted in as he fouls it off. Here is that home run last night.
Well, he was able to work the count in his favor here with John Lester and got a 3-1 fastball right down the middle. And Matt Joyce puts that ball out into the Red Sox bullpen.
And the second grand slam for Joyce in the past 7 games. Went deep with the sacks loaded against the Braves. 2 down, nobody on. The 0-1 pitch to Joyce, missing away. And it's 1-1. Red Sox have won 4 of the previous 7 games against the Rays. And a foul ball. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox took 3 out of 4 early here at Fenway Park. And then the team split a pair down at the Trop. And the Rays coming back with a win last night. Bobby Valentine trying to get his team over 500. They've been to the even mark 4 times so far this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
No, it's been such an uneasy, uneven year for this Boston Red Sox team. The pitching, that's really been the key. The starters have been up and down, got off to a slow start, tightened it up a little bit, but they haven't been what you'd like out of them. The bullpen started off slow. They're pretty good now. The one constant is they are going to score runs.
Here's the 2-2 pitch and another foul ball. And, pitching is the name of the game. And, Joe Madden's team has relied, as you know, on the pitching and defense. Not a high-scoring team, but that has been really what the foundation of this club has been.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at those 5 starters they run out there and how deep they can go. You get down to 7, 8 guys that would be capable of coming up and winning a big league ball game. The bullpen, even though it's revamped every year, every other year, continues to produce. You got to get creative offensively.
2 down. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And a shot, handle, line drive to Youkilis. And that'll retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning for Josh Beckett. Rays don't score. Red Sox coming up in the first. Bell, sometimes you got to live Moss. Mike Aviles leading off. Dustin Pedroia hitting second. The DH, of course, David Ortiz. Kevin Youkilis batting cleanup. Adrian Gonzalez in the 5th slot. Will Middlebrooks, good-looking rookie, is at third base. Daniel Nava hitting 7th. Kelly Shopik, the former Ray, behind the plate. And Marlon Byrd batting 9th for the Boston Red Sox, who are second in hitting in the league and second in runs scored, facing a very tough lefty in David Price, looking for a 7th win.
Making his 10th start of the season. Let's take a look at that scouting report on David Price. Glove side fastball. That is a huge pitch for him, because if he's able to consistently hit that fastball down and away to the lefties, in on the righties, good things tend to happen for David Price and attack the zone. When he's had trouble, he's tended to be out of the zone nibbling. When he is attacking the zone, he puts the hitters on the defensive and keeps the control of the ball game in his firm control.
This is the second start of the year against the Red Sox, and his second at Fenway against Josh Beckett, by the way. And this first one turned out to be the shortest outing of the year, back on April 13th, when he lasted only 3 innings and took the loss. So here is Mike Aviles leading off, followed by Pedroia and Ortiz in the bottom of the first. First pitch is strike.
Well, and that was the ball game where David Price really struggled as far as running up a high pitch count in just a few innings of work, and was forced to come out of that game. Meanwhile, Josh Beckett was on his game.
Fouled off, no balls and 2 strikes. So here's a look back on April 13th in that first duel.
Well, there you go. Josh Beckett goes 8 strong. He gave up the 1 run, just 1 strikeout for Josh, but he really moved the ball around, kept the Rays hitters off balance, and David Price just run up a high pitch count.
Fly ball hit to right center field, and coming over is Ben Zobrist, and he makes the catch on the edge of the warning track. And there's one out. And here's a look at the Rays defense brought to you by Scott's. And what's happened with all of those errors? 42 tied with the Orioles for worst in the league.
Well, you know what? With all of the injuries, you got different guys playing all over the place. Sean Rodriguez has played second base, solid there, shortstop and third. Drew Sutton new to the team over at third, and Elliott Johnson has become your everyday shortstop.
So a lot of it is understandable. And, of course, Ben Zobrist is the big gun out of action. The all-star third baseman as Dustin Pedroia takes strike one from Price. Pedroia hitting .289 with 5 homers and 20 runs batted in. He has reached base in 23 of his last 25 games, and now add another digit to both of those. Pedroia with a 1-out single and the first base runner of the game.
Well, Dustin Pedroia, a very aggressive swinger. He comes right out, gets this ball. It's out over the plate, and he's able to dive out there. He's far off the plate, but he has a nice dive into the plate, a long swing, an aggressive swing, and he takes that ball right back up the middle.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here is David Ortiz, and what a great start he's had this year. Tied for 8th in the American League, hitting .310. 10 home runs, also amongst the top 10, and has driven in 30 runs. And of course, facing the left-hander in Price, and he is just 3 for 18 against the young southpaw. Ortiz lifts a fly ball out to shallow left field. Matt Joyce coming on in, makes the play. 2 out. Pedroia goes back to first.
And you can see this Boston Red Sox lineup is coming out being aggressive against David Price because they know that he wants to come out. They know he was not happy with how he threw the ball here last time. He really turned it around after that. And so they say, you want to be in the zone, we're going to come out swinging.
2 down, and Kevin Youkilis and Bobby Valentine wanting to get Middlebrooks back in the lineup. So that's why Gonzalez is in right. Youkilis playing first, and he takes ball 1. Youkilis hitting .243 with 3 homers and 11 runs batted in. Came off the DL on Tuesday. He was out with a back strain, and he responded by hitting a home run against the Orioles. There's a strike on the inside corner. 1-1.
Well, the Red Sox trying to go for as much offense as they can, and you see the quick start off the DL for Youkilis, and of course he's over at first base tonight. Gonzalez going to right field. It's just amazing with the amount of injuries that they have. I mean, 7 outfielders on the disabled list, and yet they still can run out a team that is deadly by scoring runs.
In all, they have 13 on the DL. You mentioned the 7 outfielders, and they've had 10 different players man the outfield spots this year. There's a call, strike 2. 1-2 now to Youkilis with 2 out. Pedroia on at first base. Orioles lost to the Royals 4-3. So a Rays victory will put them into a first place tie with Baltimore. And how surprising the O's have been this year.
Well, Baltimore is one of those very good stories. And what, ironically enough, how about you look at the American League East, and right now sitting at the top are the Rays, the Orioles. They both are tied, or at least were tied coming into play today, in errors. Yankees and Red Sox with the fewest errors, and they're down at the bottom.
And the 1-2 pitch missing outside. And not only does Joe Madden tinker a lot with the lineups, he is the most, I hate to call him shifty, but shifting his defense is the way he is. And if you look at the shift for Kevin Youkilis, 3 infielders playing on the left side. And, of course, Pena holding the runner on. And the pitch, good pitch in on the fist by Price, fouled off, and it's still 2-2.
Well, and you know what Joe Madden basically does is he said, listen, if the data tells me that this guy hits the ball on the ground to the left side 75, 80% of the time, whatever it is, then I'm going to put my best fielders there. And if he wants to take a ground ball the other way, good for him. But the numbers say that he's going to hit it right into the shift, and we've seen it all year long, and it's been very successful.
2-2 pitch, and reaching out and fouling it off is Youkilis.
most hitters are resistant to change their approach because of where the defense is. And so, some guys will, and certainly in some instances, scenarios during the course of a game, maybe you want to take that base hit to right field. But most of the time, what makes these hitters successful, they're going to stick with, and that plays a lot of times right into a shift.
Brian, it's a percentage move.
That's it.
So he may hit one to right field and get a hit, but more often than not, he'll pull the ball. 2 out. Pedroia widens his lead. 2 balls and 2 strikes. David Price misses inside, and the count is full. 3-2 with Adrian Gonzalez on deck for Boston.
Well, David Price trying to go for that strikeout right there on Youkilis with that fastball. That's the spot that he wants. Just didn't get the call.
Ken Rosenthal is with us as well. And, of course, you saw at the outset of the broadcast when the dugout's empty, no punches thrown last night. But no warnings were issued, according to Ken Rosenthal, who checked it out before the game. And there's a line drive, foul off the facade.
That was a real good indicator right there. Kevin Youkilis has very strong hands, quick wrists, and that was a good changeup there by David Price in a full count. And he was able to get down there and just flip that ball, just hook it foul.
Ed Rapuano is the home plate umpire and the crew chief. Angel Hernandez at first, Chris Conroy at second, and Mark Carlson, the umpire, at third.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't issue a warning after last night because it got pretty heated.
I think Joe Madden thought there would be, and there are a lot of ways they could do it, either at home plate or they could call the managers into the umpire's room, but apparently none of that occurred. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and Pedroia is off on it, and the pitch, ball 4. So a good at-bat. 9 pitches, and Youkilis draws a walk. Pedroia to second, and runners at first and second. 2 down to Adrian Gonzalez. There's Gonzalez hitting .268. The key number here, only 3 home runs. So Gonzalez well below what his power numbers are, but keep in mind, he comes into the game tied for the American League lead in doubles.
Well, this whole team, they knock out doubles coming into play today. 23, 24 doubles more than their next closest competition, which was Kansas City. But boy, oh boy, they can find the gaps.
Second baseman Rodriguez is playing several steps on the outfield grass. One 1-0, the count to Gonzalez.
You have a feeling, too, that Adrian Gonzalez can heat up in a hurry. We all saw what was going on with Albert Pujols out with the Angels, off to a very slow start as far as the home runs go. He's picked it up. Adrian Gonzalez, same thing. Quality hitter. He'll figure it out, and he'll start a little run.
Another good pitch in on the fist by Price, and it's fouled off by Gonzalez. And the count 1-1.
Well, even though Adrian Gonzalez can get that bat head out and hit the ball with power to right field, David Price is not going to live away. He will make him aware of the pitch in because Adrian Gonzalez, as we've seen all season, very adept at taking the ball the other way.
Left-handers have really had a tough time against Price. For example, Ortiz 3 for now 19, and Gonzalez coming into the game 2 for 15 against Price from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 26-year-old left-hander, and the count 1-2. Good to be alongside Brian Anderson. Pitched for 5 teams in his 13-year career and was on the World Championship 2001 Diamondbacks. And Gonzalez strikes out to end it for the Red Sox. They get a hit and leave 2. We've completed 1. No score here at Fenway. You gotta live Moss. And by MasterCard. Shop and pay your bills online with MasterCard prepaid cards. Temperature 84 degrees at game time. Very humid in Boston. As the Rays coming up in the second inning, Ben Zobrist, the right fielder, hitting .213, switch hitter, 6 homers and 17 runs batted in. First pitch is ball 1. Will Middlebrooks in and wide of the bag at third base. There's where the Red Sox rookie is playing, Zobrist, who is 3 for his last 23, all singles, looking to snap out of it. But Joe Madden keeps him in the cleanup spot.
Well, he's continually tinkering with that lineup. You know, he goes on matchups. Ben Zobrist is a guy, batting average not real high right now, but he takes his walks, works some long at-bats, gets on base.
1-1 pitch and a fly ball to center field. Back goes Marlon Byrd under it and makes the catch on the warning track. So Zobrist is retired for the first out, and right now let's check in with Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Dick, Luke Scott hit by the pitch last night, and Joe Madden delayed posting his lineup for tonight's game until he could check with Scott first, see how he was. Now, Scott has a deep bruise behind and above his right knee. I asked him how he felt. He said, "I feel like I got hit by a 98-mile-per-hour fastball." Rays people say he is still seething about what happened last night and was unusually subdued before the game.
He's the DH today, Ken, and Joe Madden is very pleased that he's in the lineup, especially the way he has hit Josh Beckett in the past. First pitch fouled off. Luke Scott hitting .417 with 3 homers against Beckett, but here was last night's fiasco.
Well, there's the fastball right off that right knee just above it, and that was actually the 5th pitch of the sequence. And here they go.
And it was interesting, Brian, that the coaches were the ones in the middle more than the players, which is unusual in a bench-clearing brawl as Scott fouls it off. 0-2 to him.
It was heated down in there, and where Luke Scott is seething is the first pitch from Franklin Morales was about 2 feet behind him. And then he threw a strike, and then he came up and in, knocked him off the plate, came up and in, trying to hit him, knocked him off the plate, missed him, and then came down and got him in the knee. And that's why you saw those benches come out. That wasn't the first pitch. That was pretty deep into the at-bat.
Beckett is ahead of Scott. 2 strikes. And took something off the pitch, and it's fouled off. Josh Beckett, after some struggles, clearly has established himself as the ace of the staff right now, going for his 3rd straight victory. And, of course, everyone remembers Golfgate. After missing his start, played golf, and was, really not defensive, but said, look, I defend my day off to do whatever I want to do. And he was booed after a bad outing against Cleveland, and now has been impressive in his last 2. And as a fly ball hit to left center field, Marlon Byrd coming over, making the catch on the base of the wall as Scott gave it a ride. And there are 2 down here in the second inning. Right now, let's go to Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game break.
Win relevant because, Dick and Brian, as you know, a Rays win tonight can give them a share of first place in the AL East. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Back to Dick and Brian.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. 2 down on 2 fly balls to Marlon Byrd. And here is Drew Sutton. And swings and misses for a strike. What a story he is, Brian. Actually traded twice, you may say in the same day, came to Tampa Bay. In 3 games is 6 for 11 and 3 runs batted in.
Well, and he looked good last night from both sides of the plate. He got a cutter in from John Lester, pulled the hands in nicely, shot at the center, and then got a base hit off a Scott Atchison cutter later in the game.
Hit to Pedroia, and second straight 1-2-3 inning for Josh Beckett. We've completed an inning and a half. No score between the Rays and the Red Sox. Bud Light Lime. Summer is calling. Red Sox coming up in the second inning against David Price. And Will Middlebrooks will lead off for the Red Sox. Middlebrooks made his big league debut on May the 2nd and has started all but 2 games since. Has hit safely in 15 of his first 20 games in the big leagues, hitting .296, 5 homers, 17 RBIs, and takes ball 1 outside and has really solid power.
Absolutely, and this is the guy that has caused all of the shuffling in the Red Sox lineup and their defensive alignment tonight.
And there's a line shot over Sean Rodriguez into right field for a base hit. So the Red Sox have the leadoff man aboard with Middlebrooks, their second hit of the game.
Well, anytime a hitter's willing to take the ball the other way, very dangerous. And that ball was elevated. If that ball's down, maybe it's a ground ball. If it's elevated, it's just a straight swing out there. Middlebrooks does a nice job keeping his eyes right on the baseball, waits back on it, lets it travel, and then just shoots it into right field for a leadoff single.
And very close with Ryan Mallett, the quarterback of the Pats, who could be their quarterback someday. Both from Texarkana, Texas, childhood friends, as Daniel Nava comes to the plate. So Nava wasn't even with the big league club in spring training, and Bobby Valentine hardly knew him. He knows him now, however, because Nava has delivered in a good way. 1-0 the count to him. Well,
and since Daniel Nava's come up on May 10th, he's played every inning of every game. Switch hitter, versatile, and you better believe he's valuable now with everybody down.
Middlebrooks with the lead at first, nobody out, and a call strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Of course, Nava came up with a bang. First pitch grand slam homer back in 2010 against the Phillies. And that was his welcome into the big leagues with the Red Sox. Two and one now to Nava. Lead at first by Middlebrooks. And the pitch outside again. So now Price falling behind 3-1. He walked Euclid with 2 out and a runner on in first last inning.
Well, Daniel Nava has struggled against left-handed pitching, just a 125 average. You do not want to walk him down here at the bottom of the order.
He's got his buddy coming up next. And the pitch fouled off to the right. Kelly Shopik is on deck for the Red Sox. There is Shopik. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Daniel Nava. Nobody out here in the second. Middlebrooks, who singled to start this inning for the Red Sox. Strike 3 on the inside corner, and Nava knew it as he goes down. That's the second strikeout for David Price.
Well, this is the pitch, the fastball, and David Price just buries it. Full count right there. Jose Molina splits his body. Easy call.
So Kelly Shopik coming up, facing David Price. Good buddies, I guess. Ken Rosenthal, they have a history.
Well, Dick, you mentioned that the coaches were far more intense than the players during last night's melee. Shopik played for the Rays the past 2 seasons, and Price sent him a text message afterward that said, "If I come inside and hit you and get ejected, we're not friends anymore." Shopik responded, "You better pitch away."
And those tweets indicate how close those two are. In the heat of the battle between these two intense rivals, the rivals can still have a funny moment.
Now you have a tendency to build that bond with your former catcher.
And Shopik fouls it off, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Price is ahead of Shopik. So this is what he said. "What an intense game. Best revenge is a win. let's get it, boys. And, of course, what really counted was the Rays preventing the Red Sox from getting over 500. Madden and Valentine. And, of course, it was Madden who thought that the coaching staff, and that's all he said. He didn't name Bobby Valentine or anyone else, but you get the idea.
He was heated. I've not seen him that heated in a long time.
And a shot hit to shortstop, over to second for one, and a 6-4-3 double play. Shopik bounces out. The Red Sox get a hit, none left. And we'll return to Boston after a break from your local Fox station. Keys to the game.
Well, for the Rays, change the approach. I mean, since 2010, Josh Beckett has held them to a 137 average. In this ball game, 6 up, 6 down. You might want to change the approach off him and catch the baseball. 19 errors in the last 13 games. And you figure in a game like this with the pitchers that are on the mound, no margin for error, so you can't have any.
Sean Rodriguez, Rays second baseman, leading off in the third inning. And, of course, they're on a pace for 148 errors, which would be a club record by far, as Rodriguez fouls it off in the count 1-1. Rodriguez coming in hitting .239 with 4 homers and 14 runs batted in. Regular shortstop before the Longoria injury, now mainly at third, but he's been at second base the last 2 games, has Sean Rodriguez. Here's the 1-1 pitch. 2-1.
And he is a tough second baseman. His more natural position, he's got a great glove no matter where he plays, but over at second base, he invites that contact and turning double plays.
Count is now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You got to figure here, Josh Beckett, the one area that Sean Rodriguez struggles with right-handed pitching is the ball that's moving away from him. Right now, Josh Beckett is just filling up that zone. How about that? 20 strikes, just 5 balls.
And 6 of 7 first pitch strikes at that. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter, hitting 7th in the Rays batting order here in the third inning. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Josh Beckett, 11-4 lifetime against Tampa Bay. And since the start of last year, 3-0 in 4 starts with a very impressive 0.87 earned run average. Trying to end a Rays 3-game winning streak tonight in the second game of the series. Rays winning last night 7-4. And a ground ball hit to Aviles. And he'll make the play for out number 1 here in the third. Well, Josh Hamilton is at it again. Right now, let's go to Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game break.
Dick, indeed he is. Toronto had scored 2 in the 13th to take a 7-5 lead, but after Elvis Andrus doubled in a run, the amazing Josh Hamilton wins it, his major league leading 20th home run and 53rd RBI. Rangers snatch him back. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Back to Dick and Brian.
Thank you, Matt. 1 down here in the third for the Rays. Here is Jose Molina, the 36-year-old veteran catcher, takes ball 1. Molina's been struggling at the plate, only has 2 hits in his last 24 trips to the plate. On deck, the number 9 hitter, Elliott Johnson. And a line drive, base hit to left field. And the first hit and base runner for the Rays, Molina, with a 1-out single, with Johnson coming up.
Well, here you go. You got to try to get base runners against Josh Beckett and Jose Molina. Ball meant to be down and away, and you see Kelly Shopping. The gloves start reaching back across the plate. That typically does not end up well for the pitcher.
So Beckett retires the first 7, and now switch hitting Elliott Johnson, who's hitting .275, 3 homers and 9 runs batted in, and has made the most of his opportunity. 17th consecutive start for Elliott Johnson. That's career high for him. Red Sox at double play depth, with Middlebrooks, the third baseman, playing a few steps in and wide of the bag. Showing bunt and taking ball 1.
Well, you go back to May 4th. May 5th is when Elliott Johnson started to get all his playing time. And coming into that ball game, he was hitting 139. Well, since then, all he's done is hit 339, 3 home runs, and also another guy for the that the Rays have, that when he gets on base, he's that stolen base threat. Now, he may not be able to run with Jose Molina in front of him, but he's one of those guys dangerous on the base paths also.
And a pop-up, and rushing out is Pedroia. This could be troublesome. And coming on in and making the catch is Marlon Byrd for the second out. So there are 2 out, and Jose Molina goes back to first base. Josh Beckett, and this is the story. Started the season 5 starts, 4.45 earned run average. The loss to Cleveland when he was booed here at Fenway Park. And then a very impressive last 2 in which he has allowed only 1 earned run in 14 2/3 innings.
And he's been very efficient in doing that. Those last 2 starts, just 103 pitches to get through 7 2/3 and 93 pitches to get through 7. Going right after guys. And he absolutely is on quite the run.
So there you see the contrast for Beckett. And have the Red Sox, as you pointed out, really needed a stopper to step forward here. Here's Carlos Pena up for the second time in the game. Takes a big cut, and this is strike 1. 2 out. Runner at first base is Jose Molina. Here in the Rays third, no score.
Well, and that was a cutter by Josh Beckett. And it's not a big cutter. It's got a small amount of break, and you saw Carlos Pena asking if that ball, asking Ed Rapuano, is that ball a strike? Because he sees it coming out, sees fastball middle in. He wants to turn on it. That little cutting action takes it right under the bat.
Time called. You think Beckett kind of has changed his style a little bit?
I absolutely do. I think that his fastball miles per hour average this year is down just a little bit. He's throwing the cutter more than he ever has. And, he's a savvy pitcher. We talked about it in the open. He can move the ball around. He's got very good command. We talked about the last 2 starts, how deep he got into the game on a very efficient pitch count. Just has a real good feel for what he's doing out there, what a hitter's looking for, and making adjustments.
1-1 the count to Pena, who struck out his first at-bat to start the game. And there's a breaking pitch, took something off that, and the count 1-2.
how about this curveball? And then you see his ability, cutter in, curveball away. He's got the whole arsenal, and tonight looks like he's got the good stuff too. The late sink, the little cut, curveball, changeup. Everything looks sharp here in the early going.
Trying to get over 500 at 5-4 on the year is Josh Beckett, a World Series hero. And reaching out and a slow hit ground ball to Betroya. He'll make the play and the side is retired. The Rays get their first hit and lead one in the middle of the third. No score here in Boston. And the number 9 hitter Marlon Byrd will lead off. Last night Byrd played right field. The first time he's played a spot other than center field since joining the Red Sox on April 21st in a trade from the Chicago Cubs. Byrd batting .273, has 1 homer, 7 runs batted in. Takes a strike. Byrd will be followed by the top of the Boston order with Mike Aviles and Dustin Pedroia. 0-2 to Byrd.
Well, David Price coming right after Marlon Byrd. He does not want to allow him to reach base as you roll back through this lineup. And wrapping around for the second time, you want to make sure you get this first out.
That's inside. You look at all the players on the disabled list. 13 for the Red Sox and 10 for the Rays. And you talked about how those infielders who have been forced to play have performed well. Same thing for the Red Sox in the outfield. But of course, the Rays are right now tied for first place with the Orioles, who lost to the Royals today. And the Red Sox still in the cellar in the division. And a changeup and strike 3, and Byrd is out for the first out in the third.
Well, here you go. David Price comes in, and that breaking ball dropping right to the back foot.
Here's Mike Aviles, fly to right his first time up. David Price, who made his big league debut back in 2008 and was the hero of the ALCS win over the Red Sox. First pitch, strike 1.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible what he did coming up late in that year, pitching in some huge ball games. Obviously, they clinch a game in the ALCS. Doesn't get any bigger than that.
And he pitched in relief in 3 games, and then he was brought in to save the 7th game, and he got the final 4 outs with 3 strikeouts. That was a pressure situation right off the bat for Price, who falls behind 2-1 to Aviles.
Well, just a tremendous amount of poise to come up in that situation. Young pitcher, team going to the playoffs, in the ALCS, and come through.
Shot up the middle and a base hit. Mike Aviles with a base hit, 3rd hit of the game. Ken Rosenthal, well, the bow tie loomed large for the Tampa Bay Rays, didn't it?
Dick, you know Joe Maddon. He loves those themed road trips, those dress-up road trips. And this week was the Ken Rosenthal Nerd Bow Tie Road Trip. Well, Maddon likes doing this because it builds camaraderie, takes players out of their comfort zone. And Dick, I don't know if he was talking about Brian Anderson here or not, but he said he wants to poke fun at the group that insists on wearing $3,000 suits on chartered airplanes. He never understood how that related to winning.
Well, you may have $3,000, $300,000 suits or $3,000 suits with those bow ties. And by the way, Ken Rosenthal always wears a bow tie for charity, and this one dedicated to the U.S. Navy.
That's right, Dick. And the Rays actually wore the bow ties from the bow tie cause, the ones that I wear every week, and they made a donation of $3,000 to be distributed among 18 different charities.
Well, we want to know what you think tonight on our Twitter poll question. Who has the best Ken Rosenthal-esque outfit? Bow tie Price, bow tie Maddon, or bow tie Johnson? Tweet your answers to @MLB on Fox using the appropriate hashtags, and we'll have the results later in the game.
I like Johnson just because of the look on the face. Thoroughly confused.
Did you wear one?
I did not.
Okay.
In the ideal of tonight.
Brian Anderson, who has also pitched in the '97 World Series with the Indians and attended Wright State, if I'm not mistaken, in Dayton, Ohio.
That is true.
There's a strike on a check swing to Pedroia, 1-1 with 1 out. Aviles on at first base here in the 3rd inning of a scoreless game.
And the Rays first baseman Carlos Pena made an appearance at Wright State for a year before he then headed out, ended up at Northeastern right here in town.
Native of Haverhill. Actually was a youngster when he came here with his parents. 1 ball and 1 strike inside. What's your additional thought on the bow ties, Ken?
Well, Dick, far be it from me to try to influence a Democratic election, but Elliot Johnson is worried about this, that it's going to turn into a popularity contest and that David Price is going to win. So I'm just throwing that out there to the public. Don't make this like the Gold Glove Awards where the coaches vote for the most popular guy. Do it legitimately.
Vote for the look on the face.
Is that legal to influence
I don't
tweets?
think so.
I don't think so either.
Well, maybe after 7 o'clock it's on Eastern.
Ken, see us in our office, please. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Pedroia, who got the first Red Sox hit to center field in the 1st inning. Red Sox have 3 singles, and the lead by Aviles, who has 6 stolen bases to lead the club. And there is a ground ball backhanded nicely, and by Sutton, and they get the force at second. Good play by Sutton. And the crowd not happy with that call, as Aviles is forced, and safe at first is Pedroia.
Great backhand there by Sutton, and then the throw, and you see Sean Rodriguez able to keep that foot on the bag with the stretch. Well, that's a tough play. Just enough.
2 out to David Ortiz.
And Sean Rodriguez showing that versatility. Very good around that second base.
Ortiz flied out to medium left field, and Matt Joyce going the other way with it. Against the shift, ball 1 outside. So there's the shift for Ortiz, and Sean Rodriguez playing a lot deeper, you see, into almost short right field.
This time.
Pedroia on at first base. Two down here in the Red Sox third. Molina fakes the throw to first.
Well, there you see Sean Rodriguez. Well, this thing's a tad off. He's right there, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you got the right idea.
They swing this thing around.
The outfield was playing Ortiz straight away, and Drew Sutton, the third baseman, is playing deep at shortstop on the edge of the outfield grass. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. Good pitch at the knees. And it's 2-1 to Big Poppy. Rays starting pitching has shaved a run off of their ERA here in the month of May. 2-1. Falling behind 3-1 now to Ortiz with Youkilis on deck.
Boy, that was a close pitch there. Down in the count, David Price 2-1. He comes with the fastball, and this looks pretty good. You can't throw it much better. Does not get the call, and now you're in a real tight spot at 3-1. Pretty impressive split there for David Ortiz against lefties and righties. Pretty consistent.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. Big cut and a miss. Ortiz was going for the bleachers on that swing.
Oh, that may have been the biggest swing I've seen him take. I mean, that was something. 3-1 fastball. David Price is going to challenge him, and he's going to challenge him out over the plate. How about this cut?
3 for 19 against Price. Might as well unleash it if you can.
Yeah, you always find yourself in that 3-1 count.
Here goes the runner, and the pitch, fly ball to right field. Zobrist coming over, and he'll make the catch to retire the side. One hit, one left. Make your selection. Bowtie Price, Bowtie Madden, Bowtie Johnson. To the roots so they don't come back. And by Ford, go further. Dick Stockton along with Brian Anderson and Ken Rosenthal here at Fenway Park. Scoreless game with the Rays facing Josh Beckett here in the fourth inning and B.J. Upton leading off. And a slow hit roller Aviles will have to hurry and makes the throw in time to retire B.J. Upton. And a few moments ago, we caught up with the Red Sox manager, Bobby Valentine, and you have to say that Josh Beckett has been solid thus far.
Yeah, he's pitching with conviction. You know, he has that curveball that he showed us the first at bat. His ball's moving in and out nicely and keeping the ball down.
What are you seeing off of David Price and how the offense can get, chink in the armor, put base runners on, get them out of the stretch, and what are you seeing from that side?
Yeah, well, we're working the count pretty good and having pretty good at-bats, but he's throwing a lot more change-ups and cutters than we saw him last night, so there's a little in-house adjustment we're going to make, and I think we'll do that.
Bob, thanks very much for being with us.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate it. And Matt Joyce taking strike one from Josh Beckett, so this pitcher's duel living up to expectations, Brian, with a scoreless game, and the pitcher's looking pretty solid so far. The Red Sox have out-hit the Rays 3-1.
No, everything that we thought. I mean, Josh Beckett looks very sharp. David Price has been throwing the ball well, making pitches when he needs to. Has been able to work back from a couple of difficult counts to get out of some spots. And
Joyce lined out to Euclid, hit the ball sharply to end the first inning. And missing inside. And it's 1-2 to Matt Joyce. Acquired from the Tigers before the 2009 season and was an all-star in 2011. Here's the 1-2. Curveball fouled away. Rays coming in 10th in hitting, 6th in runs scored, but they lead the American League in stolen bases, led by B.J. Upton, who has 11 stolen bases. To top the league, has been caught just once. He just made the first out, and the ball in the dirt, strike three, and that'll do it. So they're two down here as Joyce goes down. Next Saturday on Baseball Night in America, the Yankees will be in Detroit to take on Prince Fielder and the Tigers. Or the Twins battle the AL Central leading Indians. Or the Diamondbacks, Padres, Cubs, Giants, or Reds and Astros. A lot to offer next week. Baseball Night in America telecast presented by Budweiser begins next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Fox. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Two down to Ben Zobrist, who fly to Marlon Byrd in center field his first time up. Zobrist celebrating his 31st birthday today. Would like to really celebrate it by getting a hit. Last 24 times up, only has 3 singles to show for it. One and one. Zobrist was a fill-in in a trade with the Astros back in 2006, and he was a part-timer, and then he emerged as an all-star 3 years ago. There's a strike. 1-2. Beckett has struck out 2, has not walked anyone. Gave up a single to Molina after retiring the first 7 he's faced. Two and two now to Zobrist.
Oh, Ben Zobrist, he's a good fastball hitter, likes that ball up in the zone, something that he can get out there and put a good swing on. Keeps his bat in the strike zone for a long time, and you see Josh Beckett trying to tease him down and away, get him reaching.
Great ratio between balls and strikes thus far for Beckett. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and a shot hit to center field. Marlon Byrd going back on the track and makes the catch. Marlon Byrd has made some fine plays out in center field. That's the 4th putout for him. A 1-2-3 inning for Beckett. In the middle of the 4th inning, no score between the Rays and the Red Sox. Pitcher for 13 years in 5 different teams. And, of course, Ken Rosenthal with us as the Red Sox come up in the bottom of the 4th inning. Kevin Youkilis will lead off, followed by Adrian Gonzalez and Will Middlebrooks against David Price. And we're pleased to have James Shields join us. Another one of those impressive starters that Joe Maddon has. In the first pitch to Youkilis is a strike. And, James, you got your buddy out there, David Price. You two very close. What's your assessment so far from him?
Hey, he's pitching pretty good right now. He's definitely mixing up his pitches pretty well. He's getting ahead of his fastball. He's using his fastball pretty well right now, so that seems to be working out.
James, we know the last few years that the Rays have really taken a lot of pride in putting together a solid starting rotation, a very good top-end starting rotation. How much competition is there between all of you?
I mean, there's definitely some competition, and it's friendly competition too. So, we're a bunch of good buddies. We hang out together. We enjoy each other's company, and we like to compete against each other too as well. So, it's always a competition out here, but we always pushing each other and feeding off each other, and it seems to be working out.
Youkilis fouls a pitch back, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Youkilis walked his first time up, and I would think having so many young pitchers as you do, James, he kind of drives you and gives you incentive to do better each time you pitch.
Well, being the old man of the staff is definitely nice to have young pitchers underneath me, man. I just turned 30 this year, so they're giving me some stuff to give me the old man, some old man beard stuff. So it's nice to have those young pitchers, keep me going.
Well, James, let's talk about what you're doing this year, coming off basically what was a historic season last year with the complete games, the number of innings pitched, everything that you accomplished last year, and off to another strong start. What has made the difference for you?
I think in the offseason I really changed my mechanics up a little bit. Oh, nice play right there. I changed my mechanics in the offseason a little bit. We really worked on the stabilization of my core, stabilization of my legs, just being more consistent on the mound. And the only way to do that was to really work hard in the gym on it and create that muscle memory. It's all about consistency in this game, as you know.
Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Youkilis bouncing out to Drew Sutton. Gonzalez struck out to end the first inning. Scoreless game here in the bottom of the 4th inning. James Shields, who's a young 30, with us from the Rays dugout. And what kind of adjustment have you guys made with all of the changes made in the infield because of the injuries? And they've done as well as they could.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we've had some really key players come up huge for us. I mean, we've had a lot of key players actually. We've had a lot of injuries this year. Every year, I mean, you're not going to win. You're not going to go to the playoffs and win the World Series with just your 25 guys you start out with. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of adversity you have to deal with every single year. And right now, we're dealing with a little more than we want to, but we're handling our own and keeping afloat. As long as we can pitch and keep our defense going, obviously get some timely hitting, I think we're good.
1-2 the count to Gonzalez with 1 out here in the 4th inning, and the pitch is outside. And the club, despite the loss of Evan Longoria, you're a big guy, 13-10, so you had your head above water.
Yeah. It's been nice. It's been nice. We definitely miss Evan. We definitely miss Desmond and a lot of the guys, man. I mean, those are big key players in our process of going to the playoffs and winning the World Series. But right now we just got to deal with what we got. But like I said, these guys are doing some great, phenomenal jobs. I mean, Elliot Johnson, he's been coming up huge for us as of late, and guys like Sutton and things like that. So it's been good.
Pretty good pitch there, and Gonzalez strikes out for the 2nd time and the 4th strikeout for Price.
Well, it's that high-octane fastball again, and he's getting it to that glove side. And when he does that, I'm telling you, away from the lefties, in on the righties, he is difficult to deal with.
I'll tell you what, interleaf's coming up. I don't want to face that.
Will Middlebrooks, who has one of the 3 Red Sox hit, a sharp base hit to right field coming up, and a lot of people impressed with this rookie on the Red Sox. James?
Yeah, he's definitely been good. He's got a good approach at the plate. He's up there and he's taking some hacks. I mean, he's definitely taking some good at-bats against us. And from what we've seen on the video, he's taking good at-bats against everybody. So, I think he's definitely a nice addition to their squad, but, just another hard out for us to get.
James, when you retire, and we hope it's not for a while, you may have a place up here.
I don't know about that. BA's doing a good job. He might be there for 20, 30 years.
He's doing a great job tonight with us on Fox. 2 balls and 1 strike to Middlebrooks.
Hey, James, speaking from experience and having faced a potent lineup like the Red Sox many times throughout your career, what is your approach? You're facing them in this ballpark with that short porch out in left field. What's your general overall approach against a lineup like this?
You definitely have to keep the ball down, but then again, you don't really want to change your approach. Like every other game, you want to stay aggressive. You really want to stay aggressive. You got to get ahead of these hitters. I mean, they like to work the count. Go deep in the count, work the count, and hope for the best there.
James, you know when to get out. Time for commercial. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, guys.
You were great. In uniform, serving around the world, watching tonight's broadcast in 175 countries on AFN, the American Forces Network. Thanks for all you do. We hope you're enjoying tonight's telecast. Luke Scott leading off in the 5th inning against Josh Beckett. Lifts one to left field, and going back is Nava to make the catch for out number 1.
Well, and that right there, a perfect example of Josh Beckett and how sharp he's been, not only with his stuff, but with his command. That ball away from Luke Scott, if it's elevated, he's probably able to poke that thing off the green monster. But because it's down, he cannot generate the power, and it becomes an easy out.
Drew Sutton coming up for the Rays. Do you think that issue with the golfing with Josh Beckett, could play a role in maybe being a turning point for him?
Oh, I absolutely believe that. Probably a lot of mental anguish over that, even though he was very defiant in the press conference. But it's got to take a mental toll, and did not have a good start that next night. Was knocked out by the Indians, but boy, oh boy, within 5 days, he found it. He got right back to work, got back up on the horse. 1 earned run in his last 14 2/3 coming into this game, and he's throwing well again.
Drew Sutton and a foul ball out of play. Beckett was drafted 2nd overall by the Marlins in 1999 as Sutton gets a new bat after Tampa Bay drafted another Josh Hamilton with the 1st pick. And we saw a highlight from Matt Vasgersian with Hamilton having an incredible season thus far.
He's putting up video game numbers. I mean, it's been ridiculous, including obviously that 4 home run game against the Baltimore Orioles.
Sutton grounded to 2nd his first time up. 1 out, no balls and 2 strikes, and gets a piece of the ground ball. Drew Sutton has been a plus for the Rays. Ken Rosenthal.
You mentioned it before. Traded twice in one day last Sunday. The first trade was from the Braves to the Pirates, and Sutton had to rent a car to get from Rochester to Buffalo to meet the Pirates AAA affiliate, and he was having trouble doing that when his phone rang again. It was Larry Broadway, the Pirates director of minor league operations, and Sutton said, "Hey man, I'm having trouble getting there." Broadway started laughing. He said, "Hey, don't worry about it. You're going to Tampa Bay. You've been traded again, and this time you're going to the big leagues."
That's a great story, Ken, and keep in mind that Drew Sutton, who's 29, played in 31 games for the Red Sox. Also had been with the Reds and the Indians in earlier seasons. So he's familiar with Fenway Park. No balls and 2 strikes. And a curveball in the dirt, 1-2. Beckett staying ahead of the hitters so far in this game.
Well, and that's been the key. I mean, you're able to take the mix of pitches that Josh Beckett has and pitch ahead in the count. You really, I mean, the hitters become very defensive. You don't see those aggressive swings. They're just trying to put the ball in play. You get a lot of easy, quick outs.
"12 of 15 first pitch strikes for Josh Beckett tonight. 1 out, nobody on in the 5th inning. And strike 3, foul tipped into Kelly Shopik's mitt. And that'll be out number 2, and the 3rd strikeout for Beckett. Well, tomorrow NASCAR on Fox will be in Charlotte as defending champion Kevin Harvick and points leader Greg Biffle lead the world's best drivers in a chase for the checkered flag. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing with the Coca-Cola 600 live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. 2 out to Sean Rodriguez, who looks at a strike. He grounded out to shortstop. Bavilas his first time. Only 1 base runner against Josh Beckett. The 1-out single by Jose Molina in the 3rd inning. Took something off that pitch, and the count now 0-2 to Rodriguez.
Well, the ability to subtract, add and subtract, and that curveball, not only the break, was the break very good, but how about that change of speed? Sean Rodriguez was way out in front of that like it was a changeup.
And once again ahead, 2 strikes on the batter. It remains 0-2. Red Sox enjoying Fenway Park. They'll be home for 11 of the next 14 games after tonight. And for the Rays, they're going to be heading back to the Trop as well. 14 of the next 15 after tonight will be at home. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rodriguez.
Well, there you go. Josh Beckett once again. Here you are in the 5th inning. There's 57 pitches, got 2 strikes with 2 outs.
And a ground ball to the opposite field. Pedroia eats it up. And Josh Beckett has faced 1 over the minimum in the first 5 innings. No score here at Fenway Park. Good old-fashioned pitcher's duel on display. support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. It'll be the bottom third of the Red Sox order against David Price, who has allowed 3 singles, has struck out 4 and walked 1. It'll be Daniel Nava, Kelly Shopik, and Marlon Byrd, bottom third against Price. And I tend to exaggerate a little bit. I was giving the schedule of the Rays and all of those home games coming up. Actually, this is the only road series in a stretch of 14 of 17 at home. So there are not a lot of extra games for you fans down there that you say, I didn't know we were going to be home for so many games. Nava took a called third strike his first time up. Want to know the count. Talking to Bobby Valentine with all of the players on the disabled list. I don't remember the last time, Brian, that I remember 3 outfielders batting in order 7th, 8th, and 9th in the lineup, and that's what the Red Sox had last night.
They only bat 7th, 8th, and 9th in the order when they're the 8th, 9th, and 10th outfielders on your roster. There you go.
Nava ahead on the count, 2 balls and no strikes. So Price falling behind to the leadoff hitter in a scoreless game, and now it's 3-0. First time tonight that Price has faced a 3-0 count, with Kelly Shopik waiting to hit for the Red Sox. And a 4-pitch walk, second walk of the game issued by Price. And Nava is on, leading off here in the 5th inning.
Well, David Price, his last time here in Boston, he went to 3 innings, not a very good outing, but since then, he really has had a growth spurt as a pitcher. You see what he's done with the Rays, climbing up those charts. But in the last month and a half or so, really the improvement of his secondary pitches and his ability to work them into his game plan has really caused him to make a jump. I mean, he's always going to be fastball heavy, but he's starting to mix in that cutter, throwing the curveball more. His changeup is improving every time out. Got a very good mix going and really is growing as a pitcher, not just a guy with a good fastball.
And just making sure that the hitters are not just sitting on his fastball.
Absolutely. And you know, there are times where he can dominate and be fastball heavy, but you all of a sudden start to mix in a cutter, that little spike curveball, the changeup where he keeps the good arm speed, and that changeup stays in the 84, 86 mile-an-hour range. He can just dominate.
Second time tonight the Red Sox have the leadoff man on, and the pitch taken for a ball, and time is called as Molina goes to the mound along with Pena to talk things over and settle down Price here.
Well, and the one thing that David Price, when he is very good, he's got that good command, and obviously a 4-pitch walk, put the leadoff man aboard, you're down at the bottom of the lineup, and so you just come out there to calm him down, try to get him back in the zone. You know, last time Kelly Shopik came up, had a runner aboard with 1 out, made a good pitch, got a ground ball double play. He's got a very good ground ball percentage this year, so that's what he's shooting for now, but just got to take a deep breath and work back down in the zone.
So Shopik in his second Red Sox stint, drafted by the Red Sox in the 2nd round. Trying to do some damage against his former team and looks at a strike. So after 5 pitches for balls, Price gets 1 over.
Get that backdoor cutter to Kelly Shopik. Obviously, having played with Kelly Shopik, David Price knows what his approach is, and it's to look for a mistake out over the plate and take a big hack. Kelly Shopik swings the bat with mean intentions, and he wants to do damage.
Sean Rodriguez, the second baseman, shaded over toward the bag. And a shift for him, and there's the bunt back to the mound. Price has 1 play, and that's the first. So Shopik sacrifices successfully. Nava moves into scoring position with 1 out in the 5th inning.
So, of course, he bunts. He turned right around here. But you know what? This is the way this game's going. Pitchers duel. You get the leadoff man aboard. Kelly Shopik gets it down. Get that runner out into scoring position here with just 1 out.
So Marlon Byrd with an opportunity here. He struck out his first time up. And for the second time in the game, the Red Sox have a runner in scoring position. They had 2 runners on in the 1st inning before Gonzalez struck out to end that threat. Scoreless game here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Rays winning last night. Red Sox looking to even the series and get back to 500. And the first pitch, fastball to a strike to Bird. Marlon Byrd, an all-star with the Cubs 2 seasons ago. One and one. Red Sox have 3 singles, 1 each in the first 3 innings. And as Brian mentioned, one of them, Middlebrooks, who led off with a hit in the second inning, erased on a double play. Shopik bouncing out to a 6-4-3 to end the inning. And ground ball hit to third. Sutton holds the runner at second and makes the play to first to get Bird. And Nava has to hold at second, and there are 2 down. Well, this July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 MLB All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 10th at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. Here's a look at the Green Monster and the seats above the Green Monster. A great place to watch baseball. Kind of right on top of the action from there, and always waiting for a ball. Here's Mike Aviles. And ground ball hit to shortstop. Elliott Johnson makes the play, and that'll do it. So David Price now has thrown 75 pitches. The Red Sox leave a runner in scoring position. We go to the 6th. Still 0-0. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. And by the makers of Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of MLB. Josh Beckett has allowed only 1 hit. And the man who got the hit is stepping up, Jose Molina, who had been mired in a 2-for-24 slump before getting that hit. And he takes a call strike. He'll be followed by Elliott Johnson, in the top of the order, Carlos Pena. And it's 0-2 now to Molina. And here is tonight's game summary, brought to you by Jeep. And to put it in a nutshell, Price and Beckett, partner.
Hey, I mean, 5 innings. This is exactly what we thought we were going to get coming into this ball game, and they have not disappointed.
Here's the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Josh Beckett now has thrown 61 pitches, and neither hurler tonight has had a 20-pitch inning. Basically dispatching the opposition. Economically, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Molina.
Not really wasting very many pitches, and I'll tell you, as you get deeper into this ball game, every pitch looms large, obviously in a scoreless game, but boy, as you start to roll through the lineup for the 3rd time, these pitchers have a real good idea of the hitter's approach. They've got very good command of what they're throwing. I mean, that breakout is ridiculous. 48 strikes, 14 balls. We're in the 6th.
Comebacker, and Molina's retired for the first out in the 6th inning. Well, let's take a look at those fireworks last night that happened in the bottom of the 6th inning. Dustin Pedroia was hit by a pitch by Burt Badenhop, and then in the top of the 9th, Luke Scott hit by Franklin Morales, and that was the start of it. As tempers flared, the bench is cleared, including both managers getting heated. No one was ejected for the incident, and as Ken Rosenthal reported, no warning was made before the game. And so the two managers had some interesting comments following last night's incident. Here's Elliott Johnson. Switch hitter, fly to center his first time up. Check swing, but it's a strike. Middlebrooks playing a few steps in at third. Oh, 0-2.
Middlebrooks comes in because Elliott Johnson has shown that ability to lay down the bunt. Obviously has some speed. We talked about the fact that he'll steal bases. Josh Beckett will give up the stolen base. So you take that away until there's 2 strikes, and then you move back to your normal spot in the infield.
High fly to shallow right center. Marlon Byrd had a busy night tonight, makes the catch for the second out. Here is what Joe Maddon had to say in his office after last night's incident.
I'm kind of curious as to regarding who put out the hit, because I know it wasn't one of their players. By the way, their players reacted to the entire situation. I knew it did not come from them. Eventually, they can get their own guys hurt with that kind of behavior. That's what I think, quite frankly. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it's absurd, idiotic. I'll use all those different words. You could quote me on that. It's on camera.
Wow.
And, of course, we'll have Bobby Valentine's thoughts coming up as well. 2 down. Carlos Pena 0 for 2. Struck out and grounded to Pedroia. And he hits a roller right to Euclid. Steps on the bag. A 1-2-3 inning. So 11 in a row set down now by Beckett. We'll have Bobby Valentine's response when we come back. No score, middle of the 6th.
Singling home Miguel Olivo in the 5th. Seattle with a 1-run lead in the middle innings. Back to Dick and Brian at Fenway.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. And David Price, who had a 5-hit shutout against the Angels back on April the 24th, striking out 6.
That was a huge moment for David Price because Joe Madden really likes to watch the pitch count, and he was, up there in pitches, got into the 9th inning, had a runner aboard, and gave up a hit to Torrey Hunter. And usually that second hit, second base runner, he's coming out of the game. Well, Joe Madden left him in there. On the very next pitch, he gets Mark Trumbo to fly out to left field to get the shutout. Huge confidence boost for David Price. And since then, he's really thrown the ball very well, including here tonight.
Yes, he is, as Dustin Pedroia, with the count 1-0, has one of the 3 Red Sox hits. He's also hit into a fielder's choice. Trying to get on in a scoreless game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Red Sox with their 2, 3, 4 hitters, Pedroia, Ortiz, and Euclid, against David Price, who has struck out 4 and walked 2 and has allowed 3 hits. But he has not allowed a hit since the 3rd inning. 3-0 now. And Price, who walked Nava on 4 straight pitches to start the 5th inning, now behind 3-0. And another 4-pitch walk, 3rd walk of the game. Pedroia is on. And we heard Joe Madden's remarks after last night when the dugouts emptied. Here's what Bobby Valentine had to say.
I thought their coaches were really aggressive. Matter of fact, I took offense to the aggressiveness of their coaches. I thought it was very unprofessional. They seemed very immature and out of control. The coaches are supposed to try to stop things from happening, and their coaches were actually aggravating and agitating and instigating.
So both managers, BA, had negative comments about the other coaches.
Oh, yeah. You hope that those two don't run into each other underneath the tunnel here at Fenway Park, because it'll start up again.
Won't be pretty.
No, it won't.
Here's David Ortiz. Big Papi 0 for 2. Has flied out twice. And takes ball 1. Ortiz flied out to Joyce in left and up into center in his 2 trips to the plate. And Joe Madden's tweet following the incident last night. Very proud of our effort tonight. What occurred in the 9th reeked of intent, was ridiculous, absurd, idiotic, incompetent, cowardly behavior. I think he kind of said that when we had him on before.
Very similar.
Now, interesting that the Rays don't have as dramatic a shift here against Ortiz.
And that is because you want that opportunity to be able to get the double play. Sean Rodriguez, they do have everybody pulled around. Elliot Johnson up the middle. Sean Rodriguez in the hole.
And a base hit to center field. So Ortiz crosses up the shift to an extent anyway.
Well, and this is the part of the game where maybe you do. If you get a pitch away, you just take it the other way. You got the leadoff man aboard. The shift is on. It's a scoreless game in the 6th. The ball's away. Just reach out there and poke it away. And this is one of those situations where a good hitter like David Ortiz will take advantage of that, because now look what you have. Nobody out, 1st and 2nd, and you're right in the heart of the order.
And Kevin Euclid, who has walked and bounced out. And we talk about how Josh Beckett has adjusted. Ortiz has too as a hitter over the years.
He absolutely has. I mean, there was some talk there that his bat had slowed down, that maybe he was on the downward plane, but boy, he quickened it back up in a hurry. And you see the maturity there with the runner on 1st and say, listen, ball away, I'll take it away. Obviously, the guy behind me, Kevin Euclid, has had a ton of success against David Price, so now we've got a good situation here, 1st and 2nd, with him at the plate.
Red Sox trying to give Josh Beckett a lead here in this tight pitchers duel. 1-0, and the pitch fouled back. 1 ball and 1 strike to Euclid. Red Sox had 2 runners on in the 1st inning, but they have not been in this position with nobody out, and here we are in the 6th inning with Euclid at the plate and Adrian Gonzalez on deck.
And you have Sean Rodriguez, not as dramatic of a shift. He's playing up the middle. But they pulled Carlos Pena off of 1st base to try to cover that hole over on the right side.
Fastball and a strike. Good pitch by Price on the inside part of the plate. and he gets ahead of Youkilis 1-2.
Well, you got to get the count in your favor. 1-2, 2-1 is a big swing, and he comes in there with the big heater on the inner half and gets the call. Now you got the chance to try to get him to chase something, try to get a double play ball.
The A's have already turned a double play back in the second inning to get them out of an inning. Inside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Youkilis. Pedroia is on at second, Ortiz at first. The Red Sox with 4 hits, all singles in the game. And that hit by Ortiz was the first hit since Aviles got a 1-out single back in the third. And a line drive, no throw to second, right to Elliott Johnson. So Youkilis hit it right on the button, but right at Johnson, and that'll be the first out.
Well, that was a backdoor cutter, but I'll tell you what, more impressive about this whole play, Kevin Youkilis not happy. I mean, he stayed down on that pitch. He hit it hard, but the base running of Dustin Pedroia very easily could have been doubled off there. But as soon as that, they say freeze on a line drive, he did it one better. You freeze and start to head back, especially in a situation like that, and he's able to get back to second safely.
So David Price now facing Adrian Gonzalez. He has struck him out twice. 1 out, 2 runners on, and there is a line drive, base hit to center field. Pedroia rounds third. Here comes the throw. It's not cut off, and he's out at home. What a throw by B.J. Upton to the plate to Jose Molina, and Pedroia is out at the plate. Going to third is Ortiz.
I mean, B.J. Upton gets to this ball, and he stays down and through the throw. A low line drive, 1 hop right to Molina. He's able to shield home plate there and make the tag. Boy, you thought this was for sure going to score Pedroia, but what an arm by B.J. Upton.
And there was no way that Pedroia could get to the plate the way that throw came in, and Molina had blocked everything out.
No, Dustin Pedroia was so wide there, he had no chance, and you better believe David Price giddy.
Look at the enthusiasm on David Price as B.J. Upton with a great throw to the plate. Ortiz, by the way, held at second base. So the Red Sox now with runners at first and second. Gonzalez, the runner at first. So 5 hits for the Red Sox, all singles. It's still scoreless. And here's Will Middlebrooks. Singled and grounded out. Strike 1 to Middlebrooks.
And that's a play that's not strange to B.J. Upton. Since 2007, he now 43 outfield assists. He does have a very good arm, and when he keeps it down, keeps it low, and stays through his throw, it gets there in a hurry.
So the defensive play of the game to keep it a scoreless contest. And the count now 1-1 to Middlebrooks. And we have a pinch runner has gone into the game for the Red Sox, and it's Chayshawn Lynn, who made a great catch in Baltimore this week, and he has come in to run for Gonzalez, who started the game in right field, allowing Middlebrooks to play third. Youkilis moving over to first, and Lynn, of course, a good defensive replacement for Gonzalez, even in this scoreless game when we advance. Meanwhile, the count 2-1 to Middlebrooks. So Lynn running for Gonzalez. Ortiz on at second, and the pitch is down low. And Price behind now 3-1 with Daniel Nava on deck.
Now you want to be careful here. Middlebrooks earlier in the ball game took a fastball that was up and out over the plate, shot it to right field. He's got the count squarely in his favor here. David Price needs to come up and make a pitch.
And a ground ball. Oh, and it deflects off of Rodriguez into center field. Ortiz is going to score. Lynn goes to third, and the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead. So Pedroia was thrown out at the plate, and then a sharp ground ball that Rodriguez seemingly got to, and it deflected off of him, glanced off of Rodriguez into center field, and the Red Sox take the lead.
Well, he's moving to his right, and he's trying to field. When you're trying to field that ball in front of you as you're moving to your right and trying to bring that left hand back, sometimes that ball will hit off the heel, and that's exactly what happened right there. Off the heel, not able to secure it. That ball flops out into center field, and the Boston Red Sox score the game's first run.
And they rule it a base hit for Middlebrooks, his second hit of the game, and a run batted in, his 18th of the year. So 2 outs remain, and now runners at the corners with Lynn at third, Middlebrooks at first, and Daniel Nava with 2 out. Struck out looking and walked. Fouls off the fastball from Price, strike 1.
You know, that's such a tough play for a second baseman, right? Really any infielder moving to his right like that, because it's not far enough away to backhand. But yet when you're trying to move like that and field it basically squared up, you know, it's an odd angle, and that can happen.
And you wonder whether that ball was kind of cued off of the bat the way it was coming at Rodriguez. In any event, the Red Sox have the lead. Pitch is low and in tight, and it's 1-0 to Nava. 1-1 to Nava. So David Price has allowed 1 run on 6 hits, and 3 hits coming here in the 6th. Nava trying to give Josh Beckett some breathing room here with the runner at third. Takes a strike, 1 and 2.
And the common theme in this inning has been David Price falling behind, and then when he gets to Gonzalez, he attacks him early in the, knowing that he needs to throw a strike, wants to throw a strike, and so that's what it's been.
And that's the first time that either pitcher has thrown 20 or more pitches in an inning. 20 for Price here in the 6th. And a bouncer, short hop nicely by Sutton, and the throw, good play at first by Pena, but the Red Sox take the lead, and this is the first run of the game. Ortiz scoring on the rookie Middlebrooks RBI single, 1-0. We'll return to Boston after a break from your local Fox station. Back here at Fenway Park, and the Rays batting in the 7th against Josh Beckett, who has a 1-0 lead, and a big cut and a miss by B.J. Upton. So Josh Beckett, who has retired 11 straight hitters, he retired the first 7. And the only base runner was a 1-out single by Jose Molina back in the 3rd inning. Well, Ken Rosenthal, something big happened in baseball today that affects B.J. Upton.
That's right, Dick. Adam Jones agreeing to a 6-year, $85.5 million extension with the Orioles. This is good news for B.J. Upton as Jones becomes the game's highest paid or second highest paid center fielder.
That's a fair ball.
Go ahead, Dick.
Want to hear more of that, and it's a single for Upton. Go ahead, Ken.
All right, the reason it's good news for Upton is that he is a free agent at the end of the season, and he is the youngest of the 3 big potential free agent center fielders. He'll be 28 next year, 2 years younger than Michael Bourne, 4 years younger than Shane Victorino. We saw his throw the last inning. He's off to a hot offensive start. He should do quite well on the open market.
That was his 5th assist. Thank you, Ken, on that throw to the plate. And seemingly the Rays prevented the run there, but then the base hit got the run in.
Well, yeah, and B.J. Upton, I'll tell you what, just taking him a little further, he affects the game in so many ways. I mean, defensively, with able to track balls down, we saw the arm. He can flash the occasional power, steal you a base. Very dynamic player.
Matt Joyce, 0 for 2, throw to first base. And with the Rays trailing 1-0 here, B.J. Upton with 11 stolen bases in 12 tries. Joe Madden needs to get a runner in scoring position and try to manufacture a tying run at least.
And you know what? Josh Beckett this year, teams are 5 for 5 stolen bases off him. Last year, 31 out of 35, so he's been prone to give that up.
And a ground ball, base hit to right field. And Upton will round second and go to third as Lynn retrieves. Jay-Sean Lynn, who went into play right field for Gonzalez, gets the ball back to the infield. Back-to-back singles by Upton and Joyce. And we're going to have activity perhaps in the Red Sox bullpen. Runners at first and third, nobody out.
Well, here it is. B.J. on first. That ball down and in. Matt Joyce is able to get on top of it, hit it hard, get it over in the hole. And now the Rays, with runners at first and third and nobody out, have an excellent opportunity to answer Boston.
And Ben Zobrist coming to the plate. I was going to say that if they had your pickoff mood, then there's no way that Upton would try to steal.
Well,
with the move you had.
Well, that's absolutely right. Here's the problem with that, Dick. I had so many base runners against me that I had to have a good pickoff move. I had tons of practice.
Not the time to be humble. Alfredo Aceves, you saw him starting to loosen up a little bit. Zobrist the batter. Tying runners at third, nobody out. And he swings and misses, reaching for that pitch. Strike one.
Now that's a pitcher taking advantage of an aggressive hitter. First and third, Ben Zobrist wants something elevated, and he wants to drive in that run. So give him the changeup. He goes right out after it.
Tying runners at third base. Go ahead run at first here in the 7th inning. Red Sox in front 1-0. That pitch is away, and it's 1-1 to Zobrist, who has flied out twice to Marlon Byrd in center field. Of course, a fly ball out to that territory would get the Rays home with a sacrifice fly to tie the game. That's the Red Sox infield defensively, with Middlebrooks playing a few steps in at third just in case Zobrist wants to bunt. Swings and lifts a fly ball to left field. Upton going back to tag up. Here's the catch made by Nava. Here comes the throw to the plate, and it's not in time, and the Rays tie the score, and Joyce goes to second as a result. So with a speedy Upton on a fly ball fairly deep, they don't hit the cutoff man, and now the Rays have the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Yeah, I'm not even needed, Dick. That's absolutely right. That fly ball to left field, you're not going to be able to get B.J. Upton here. A game effort by Daniel Nava, but when that ball sails over the cutoff's man head, all of a sudden Matt Joyce at second. Now with just one out. Huge play.
So instead of having the potential go-ahead run at first base, conceding a run, which was likely anyway, now Luke Scott coming up 0 for 2 with a chance.
Yeah, so now he's out there in scoring position, and you don't have that opportunity for a double play, at least the traditional kind.
Scott has flied out to Bird. and to Nava. Beckett, here comes the throw, and it's a little off line. And diving back is Matt Joyce. So the throw was toward the first base side of second base, allowing Joyce to get back.
Well, all of these different defensive shifts, the runners out there, and Matt Joyce in this case, sometimes feel like they can get a little bit bigger of a secondary lead because guys are out of position. Right there, Boston tried to catch him napping, and Kelly Shopik throws that throw, and it's just a little bit offline.
And it could be risky, too. That ball goes into center field, and now you have, with less than 2 out, the go-ahead run at third.
Absolutely.
1 strike to count to Luke Scott, the designated hitter, who was a last-minute entry into the lineup because of the injury, or the welt, if you want to call it, on his leg after being hit by a Franklin Morales pitch last night in the ninth that started all the fireworks. And a ground ball in the hole, base hit to right field. Rounding third is Matt Joyce. He'll score easily, and the Rays take a 2-1 lead. Luke Scott delivers with his 32nd run batted in. There you see the look on his face. Joyce scores, and once again, with the runner at second, the base hit got the run home after missing the cutoff.
He's allowed to move up. Luke Scott gets out there, hits that ball with enough authority that he gets it through the shift. Absolutely splits the 2 defenders, Aviles and Pedroia, and here you go. Matt Joyce comes home to score and give the Rays the lead.
So how quickly Josh Beckett working on that 1-0 lead with that 6th inning run, only to see the Rays answer with 2 runs here. Still 1 out and 3 hits, including Scott's RBI single and Zobrist with the sacrifice fly. Here's Drew Sutton. Strike 1 to Sutton, who has bounced out and struck out. Rays trying to make it 4 straight victories, and a victory will put Tampa Bay into a first-place tie with the Orioles in the AL East. Orioles losing to the Royals 4-3 earlier. There goes the runner, and swung on, and it was a straight steal. It did not look as if Scott was looking toward the plate for a hit-and-run possibility.
Well, and after being hit last night on that right knee by the pitch, and Luke Scott maybe not going to be in the lineup, you see how badly, and not been able to get very many base runners, but you see how badly the Rays want to run against Josh Beckett, especially now that they have the lead. Try to get aggressive and stretch that out a little bit.
They didn't need to send B.J. Upton to let off with a single to steal because Joyce got the base hit to put runners at first and third. The count, 2 strikes to Drew Sutton with 1 out. 2 runs in for the Rays. They lead 2-1. And that pitch is fouled out of play. Left-hander Andrew Miller has begun to throw in the Red Sox bullpen. There's Miller, and Bobby Valentine saying that in spring training, he says Miller, Padilla, and Aceves were all in camp as potential starters. And now all 3 in the bullpen. Two-strike pitch to Sutton. That's down low. One ball and 2 strikes to Drew Sutton, who has made an impact in his first 3 games since coming over to the Rays. Beckett now behind in the game, and there goes the runner again. The pitch taken low for a ball, gets away from Shopik, and in at second is Luke Scott with a stolen base.
Well, 1-2 count. You know that Josh Beckett wants to try to put Sutton away. You see that ball, it looks like it was a cutter down and in. Perfect pitch to run on. Luke Scott gets a pretty good jump, and obviously with Kelly Shopik not being able to handle it, gets in standing up out at second base.
Rays leading the league in stolen bases, now with a runner at scoring position, and of course by successfully stealing second takes away the double play possibility. Rays are first in the league behind the Miami Marlins in baseball by a wide margin as Beckett steps off.
Well, this is the point of the game here, too. Once the Rays take the lead 2-1, now they're going to try to push the envelope. Really going to try to get aggressive against Josh Beckett.
This is a team that scratches out runs. Built on pitching and defense. The defense has been a little off so far, and just getting a piece of that curveball from Beckett. Count remains 2-2. Big Stockton along with Brian Anderson. Pitcher had a fine career for 13 years. Member of the world champion Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001. Also appeared in the World Series for the Indians in 1997. Pitched for 5 teams. Pleased to have him join us in our Fox booth tonight.
Thrilled to be here.
Of course, we have to have a pitcher's duel because a former pitcher is up here. That's the way the script is written. Beckett checks Luke Scott. And Sutton strikes out for out number 2. And that'll bring up Sean Rodriguez. That is the 4th strikeout of the game for Beckett. Well, the MLB Fan Cave is back. Some of entertainment, baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. Sean Rodriguez bounced out twice. 1-0. Rays had just 1 hit coming into the 7th inning. That back in the 3rd inning, but Upton and Joyce with back-to-back singles. Sacrifice fly by Zobrist, and then Luke Scott with a single, knocking in the go-ahead run. 2-1, Tampa Bay leads. That's inside, and it's 2-0 now to Rodriguez.
And Josh Beckett firing that fastball up and in. You know, he'd like to get Sean Rodriguez out, down and away, get him reaching, try to get out of this inning with no more damage. Sean Rodriguez, if he wants to have success, is going to have to stick his nose in there and keep that front side in.
And time is called. Sean Rodriguez's father, Johnny, is the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals Class A Farm Club in Palm Beach. So he has baseball in his blood with his father, and I'm sure that association has worked well for him.
Could you imagine? I mean, going out and playing with Dad and all the knowledge that he's going to give you, the drills. Very, very versatile player.
Listens to Madden more than he listens to his dad, I'll suspect.
At this point, yes.
3-0 pitch and a ball off the glove of Middlebrooks. His throw to first off the mark, safe. And going to third base is Luke Scott. So Middlebrooks recovered nicely, but his throw was off the mark. And Rodriguez is safe at first. Now runners at first and third.
Well, this ball comes off the glove a little bit too far. Sean Rodriguez, he's a hustler. He's going to be heading up the line hard, but you see how far Middlebrooks has to go after this ball. Not real close.
And an error charged to Middlebrooks.
You better believe Sean Rodriguez hustling. The throw may not have gotten him even if it was on the mark.
You know, the Boston Celtics are playing the Philadelphia 76ers here in Boston in the 7th game of their Eastern Conference semifinal, and the Celtics lead the 76ers by 8 at halftime. Miami Heat will await the winner. Meanwhile, Jose Molina, who got the first hit for the Rays, fouls off the pitch. Out of play, and the count 0-1. Runners now at first and third. And it's been a crazy quilt inning for the Rays against Josh Beckett.
It really has been. And I mean, what a turn of events, because we were talking in between innings. I said, I don't know if I've ever seen Josh Beckett this good. I mean, he really, those first 6 innings, absolutely dominant. The ball strike breakout was really off the charts. Almost too many strikes. And then all of a sudden, the Rays strike.
Upcoming will be the 22nd pitch of this inning. And Molina then slices it out of play, and it's 2 strikes to Molina. 3 hits and an error here in the 7th inning as the Tampa Bay Rays trying to go 11 games over 500 and tie the Orioles for the lead in the division. Red Sox looking to get back to 500. They haven't been better than the break-even mark all year. 2 out, runners at the corners. 0-2 to Molina. And it's a ball. Josh Beckett sailing along, and as you said moments ago, you don't remember when he's looked any better. With a slim 1-0 lead. And that changed with B.J. Upton, once again the catalyst, starting it off for the Rays here in the 7th. And Molina strikes out, and that will do it. But the Rays take the lead. They're up 2-1 as the Red Sox come up in the bottom of the 7th. Luke Scott delivering the go-ahead single. Chevrolet is sponsored by Prudential. Prudential, bring your challenges. And by Olympic Maximum Stain and Sealant in 1. Fenway crowd a bit quiet now after the Rays taking a 2-1 lead. The Red Sox taking the lead in the bottom of the 6th, 1-0, and the Rays answering with 2 in the top of the 7th. And now it'll be Kelly Shopping, Marlon Byrd in the top of the order, Mike Aviles against David Price. Burke Badenhop is in the Rays bullpen as David Price starts the inning, having thrown 96 pitches. Shopping bounced into a double play and sacrificed. So Badenhop is the first Rays reliever to get up. Andrew Miller was up last inning for the Red Sox.
Well, and you wonder, David Price coming into this inning with that pitch count approaching 100. He threw 123 pitches in his last start, which is a season high. Joe Madden, Jim Hickey, pitching coach, usually do a good job of keeping their eye on that pitch count. When they let him go that high one start to back down the next.
And J.P. Howell is also up for the Rays. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, watching Price as he approaches the 100 pitch mark. The count is 1-1 to Shopik. Two and one, left side of the infield, playing Shopik to pull and playing deep. And it's great to see the youngsters out here getting a souvenir. Something you never forget. Two and one. And a fly ball to left field. Matt Joyce is back on the track. And Joyce is going to play it off the wall, off the top of the scoreboard. And in at second is Kelly Shopik with a leadoff double. That was the 100th pitch by Price, and the Red Sox have the tying run in scoring position.
Well, Kelly Shopik trying to do damage and drive the baseball. Gets this one high out into left center field, right off the monster. Hustles into second base. Boston looking to answer.
And Marlon Byrd, the batter, and he's checking with Jerry Royster, the third base coach, to see what his strategy may be if he wants to try to sacrifice and move Byrd to third with one out in the top of the order coming up.
That's exactly what's going on, trying to make sure that he gets it right.
So it's been a pitcher's duel, but we've got some offensive fireworks coming in the latter stages of this game. And there's the bunt attempt on the high pitch, fouled off, strike one.
No, when David Price is able to get that fastball in there with a little bit of velocity up in the zone, you know, a lot of times they tell you if you're going to sacrifice bunt, you square around, you have your bat angled where you want to put the ball down at the top of the strike zone. And anything below it, you move your knees and put it down. Anything above it, you pull that back because you pop it up.
Pena playing in at first base. Sutton also getting ready to come in, and swinging away was Byrd, fouls it off, and the count now 2 strikes. So now the fielders at the corners move back.
Well, and that's not a bad idea either, because sometimes you can catch a pitcher napping. If he thinks you're going to bunt, he just may lay one in there, and all of a sudden you take the bunt off and let the guy swing.
And you hit it solidly to the opposite field, and you got the run. There's a fastball, strike 3, and Byrd is out of there. Marlon Byrd strikes out looking for the first out of the 7th.
Well, again, the fastball in. He's up in the count 0-2, and he just buries it. And Marlon Byrd, not even an effort to take that bat off his shoulder, and knows it's strike 3.
5th strikeout for Price. So 1 out, and Mike Aviles stepping in. He is 1 for 3, singled back in the 3rd inning. Aviles already has 8 home runs, a career high for him, and the most by a leadoff hitter in the big leagues. Looks at a fastball, strike 1 to him. And a fly ball to center field. B.J. Upton going to his left. Makes the catch for the 2nd out as Shopik goes back to second. 2 down now to Dustin Pedroia.
David Price making a couple of big pitches here to get this big strikeout on Byrd. And that was big because by not letting him put the ball in play, obviously Kelly Shopik's not going to be able to move up. And then Aviles, another dangerous hitter who's seeing you now for the 4th time. And you're able to get the fly ball to center field, but you're not out of the woods yet.
And the big pitch, I think the Byrd is the high fastball that he tried to bunt, fouled off. So Pedroia, who singled back in the 1st inning, walked in the 6th, and was safe on a fielder's choice, 1 for 2. And the pitch inside, ball 1. So Pedroia trying to drive in the tying run, and he's been in this position before. Has 20 runs batted in on the year. Red Sox are 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Rays lead it 2-1. There's a strike, and it's 1-1 to Pedroia. David Price, who's tied for first with 6 victories in the American League, looking for his 7th win. And pitch number 108 is upcoming. Big swing by Pedroia, and it's 1-2.
And David Price got this fastball right where he wanted it. Really tied up Pedroia's swing. Could not clear the hands in there quick enough and get the barrel to the baseball. And now David Price in control here in a 1-2 count.
One ball and 2 strikes to Dustin Pedroia. Very close. And the count is 2-2. Shopik led off with a double, the first extra base hit in this game. And Price got Bird on a called third strike and Aviles on a fly to Upton in center. It remains 2-2.
And David Price remains aggressive with the fastball against Dustin Pedroia on the inner half. Still able to maintain that velocity. He's up now right around 109, 110 pitches and still hanging out in that 96, 97 range.
Howell and Badenhop have been warming up in the bullpen. Josh Beckett watching from the dugout. Red Sox have staged several comebacks this year. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the count runs full of Pedroia. There's Ortiz hoping he gets a chance. Shopik, who obviously doesn't have a lot of speed, and you got to remember, a hard hit base hit doesn't necessarily score the runner from second. Price has been up there in the mid to high 90s. Here's the 3-2. And staying alive. Good swing by Pedroia to get a piece of that one, B.A.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're facing David Price out there who's coming at you in, mostly in, a couple fastballs away, but he's living at 95 to 97. You're just trying to stay alive and hope that he makes a mistake out over the plate. In survival mode.
Here's the payoff pitch again, and there's a base hit to left field. And stopping at third base is Shopik as the throw comes to the plate. Holding at first is Pedroia. So no way that Shopik could risk trying to score as Joyce fielded the ball in medium left field.
Well, Matt Joyce playing left field here. He's obviously short porch. This ball gets in on Pedroia, but he's able to get enough of it, get that ball off the label, drop it out into left field for a base hit, but Matt Joyce closing quickly, and absolutely no chance for Kelly Shopik to even attempt to score.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, out to the mound. Another look.
There it is. He's not even to third base, and Matt Joyce is basically in shallow left field. Kelly Shopik goes on that. They end up getting him in a rundown. There's not even a play at the plate.
And Joyce got it to the plate in a hurry.
Yep.
And Pedroia was looking for the possibility of going to second, but could not do it. So Hickey out to talk to his entire infield. Joel Peralta has replaced Howell in the bullpen, so he's up there with Badenhop. Red Sox have the tying run at third.
Oh, and this is what you want to do, is set the defense. You want to make sure that David Price, Jim Hickey's going to come out there. What's your plan? How are you going to attack David Ortiz? Obviously a big part of the game. Bottom of the 7th inning, 2 outs. You're up by a run.
And no need for the double play, so the shift is in progress, and Rodriguez is out in short right field. Ortiz, who singled and scored the lone Red Sox run last inning. With 2 out, runners at first and third, strike 1 on the inside edge.
So how about that? They play the shift over on him. He could take his base hit to left field and tie this game up, but what does David Price do? He comes right in with 96. You're not going to be pushing that ball the other way.
Go ahead and pull it, Poppy.
Right. We've got people over there.
So the shortstop Johnson playing to the right of second base. Ortiz had a ground ball just to the left of second last time up, and there's a ground ball hit right to Johnson, who makes the play to retire the side. So the Red Sox waste a leadoff double, and Price pitches out of it. It's 2-1 going to the 8th. Presented by Chevrolet. And the Red Sox with a new pitcher here as the Rays bat in the 8th inning. Andrew Miller, 27-year-old southpaw from Gainesville, Florida, in for Josh Beckett, who worked 7 innings, gave up 2 runs earned, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks, 91 pitches. So here is Miller, who pitched Wednesday, gave up a 2-run homer to Nick Johnson of the Orioles, coming off the disabled list early in May. Former Tiger and Marlin in his 2nd year with the Red Sox.
Well, and Andrew Miller in those 8 2/3 innings only walked 2 batters. He has 11 strikeouts. He's simplified his approach and now works exclusively out of the stretch.
Elliott Johnson leading off and takes the strike. There's Josh Beckett in his numbers. And so that was his 3rd outstanding pitching performance. But right now stands to lose if the Red Sox don't get any more runs, trailing 2-1. Johnson has flied out twice to Marlon Byrd in the count 1-1. Up next will be Carlos Pena in the top of the Tampa Bay order. 2-1 now to Johnson. Red Sox continue to have bullpen activity. Matt Albers and Rich Hill warming up now. On the corner, 2-2 the count to Johnson.
Well, you just wonder how long they'll let Andrew Miller go. I mean, Against left-handed hitters, he's going to bring the fastball, the slider, some changeups to righties, but turn Elliott Johnson around here to bat right-handed. You, of course, have Carlos Pena. You figure he'll face him.
And a ground ball, Aviles to his left, throws out Johnson for the first out. Well, this MLB on Fox season, Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. And to learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. And it's great that Fox Sports, whether it's football or baseball, always has a great charity that they've devoted their time to, and it's been successful.
To the youth,
right?
Boys and Girls Clubs. I mean, that's what's coming up down the pike, right?
What's better?
That's right.
Brian Anderson with us, Ken Rosenthal as well. 1 out, and Carlos Pena way behind that pitch. Fastball from Miller, strike 1. Pena is 0 for 3. Struck out in the first inning and grounded out twice since then. Shift is on against Pena with only Middlebrooks on the left side of the infield, playing directly halfway between second and third. Here's a pop-up. Pedroia in fair territory and makes the play, and Jayshuan Lin has to get out of the way, and that could have been scary.
That absolutely, because he really didn't let up at all. Took a spill there at the very end, and you know what? You're mixing in so many outfielders. They're not used to each other. Dustin Pedroia, the everyday, obviously, second baseman, and Lynn comes flying in there. Boy, could you imagine? He clips the back of his legs. It was that close.
You know, it's amazing. Lynn made really a great catch against the Orioles this week, and he is a defensive replacement for Adrian Gonzalez, who played right field earlier for the first time in his career at Fenway Park. Here's B.J. Upton, and he takes the ball inside. So Miller, the lefty, facing Upton, the right-handed hitter, and Upton with a leadoff single last inning, and it started the 2-run rally for the Rays.
Well, and you had mentioned that Bobby Valentine was talking about the fact that Andrew Miller came into spring training with the idea of trying to become a starting pitcher. So the ability to be able to throw that changeup to the right-handed hitter, he does have the 3-pitch arsenal. You let him stay.
And Bobby Valentine going against the numbers, because Upton 3 for 7, including a home run against Andrew Miller. And falling behind 3-0, and left-handed hitting Matt Joyce on deck. Getting a piece of it is Upton. 3-1, had the green light, and why not?
Well, that's exactly what the Rays will do. With the lead, they'll continue to be aggressive. B.J. Upton swinging a hot bat. Joe Madden talked about the fact that he's aggressive on balls in the strike zone, so you give him some freedom.
There's a strike. So after falling behind 3-0, Miller has the count full against B.J. Upton with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Miller in relief of Josh Beckett. And strikes out Upton after falling behind 3-0. Andrew Miller with a blazing fastball and a 1-2-3 inning. Go to the bottom of the 8th, 2-1 Rays. Just for Men Auto Stop. It's foolproof. Gray is over. And by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. Well, the night is done for David Price, who threw 115 pitches. Not even close to the most he's thrown this year, allowing one run on 8 hits in 7 innings, struck out 5 and walked 3. And Joel Peralta, the 36-year-old, 25th appearance leading the American League. Last night pitched a 1-2-3 8th inning. And he'll be facing Kevin Youkilis, Lynn, who would be the second hitter, and Will Middlebrooks. First pitch to Youkilis, taken for a strike. Scott Podsednik is on deck and will hit for Lynn as you look at the final numbers for Price.
Well, David Price just hung in there, made pitches when he needed to. A great outing, 7 innings, the 1 earned run, 115 pitches. We talked about that glove side fastball. He was very good with that pitch tonight. Those are the kind of lines that he'll put up.
0-1 to Youkilis, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. And now Peralta's ahead of him, 2 strikes.
A good split finger there by Joel Peralta. He has the ability to throw that pitch, make it look like a straight changeup, keep it in the zone, and then also, like that one right there, take it right out of the bottom of the zone and elicit that swing.
And that April 13th game, which was the shortest outing for Price, Peralta gave up 4 runs to the Red Sox. He's had an ERA of 1.93 in 21 games since. So he's recovered from that, and a called third strike, and Youkilis doesn't like it and has a few words for Ed Rapuano as he walks away. So there's 1 down here in the 8th inning. And now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. And tonight, Carlton Fisk, who is 3rd all-time in career home runs among catchers, a Red Sox legend. It's also, I believe, New Hampshire weekend here. The cheers of the crowd behind Piazza and bench for the most home runs. And I remember him for one in particular. Just as the Red Sox could count on Carlton Fisk, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Here's Scott Podsednik batting for Lynn, who went in defensively for Adrian Gonzalez, and he fouls off the first pitch for a strike. So Podsednik, who is the newest Red Sox, dealt from the Phillies AAA Farm Club and homered Wednesday. It was his first home run since 2010 when he was with the Dodgers. Was played with the White Sox as well. Red Sox's 7th big league team, and with 1 out trying to get aboard in a 2-1 game. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Showing bunt and going back to the backstop, getting a piece of it, and it's 0-2. It was a ball. He never got a piece of that. The scoreboard originally showed strikes, so the count is 1-1 to Podsednik. Drew Sutton in at third and playing close to the bag. Peralta's pitch, showing bunt again, and that's on the outside corner. Good breaking ball there, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, and even better location. Good curveball. He drops it right on the outside corner. Podsednik, who had an idea to try to lay that down. Not an ideal pitch to do so.
Middlebrooks is on deck. And he's hit 5 home runs, and the Red Sox looking to get a man aboard here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that pitch is outside. The Rays, by the way, very impressive. 11-3 in 1-run games this year. In fact, they have more 1-run victories than any other team in the league. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Stays alive. So Peralta trying to keep the Red Sox in check. And Price hoping he can win his 7th game of the year. Molina out to talk to Peralta. Rich Hill is the only pitcher warming up for the Red Sox. He'd be ready. He's just watching the activity out in the Boston bullpen. 2-2 to the pinch hitter, Podsednik. Fly ball left field, coming over is Matt Joyce. And it is foul. Not much room between the foul line and the wall leading into those stands.
No, a few feet. Podsednik reaches out, pushes that ball down the left field line.
This was close.
Absolutely. Let's see. Just a couple of feet. That's all it takes. But you're right. You're an outfielder, and you're heading to try to make a play on a fly ball like that. Look out.
And if that happens to stay fair, that's extra bases easily. So we're back to 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Peralta has held lefties to a 159 average since joining the Rays last year. Took something off that pitch, and it's popped up to the left side of the infield. And it's Drew Sutton, the third baseman, making the catch for out number 2 here in the 8th inning, with Middlebrooks coming up.
Well, you know, we saw Carlton Fisk being honored here at Fenway Park before the game. And Dick, you and Carlton forever linked in history.
Well, this is it.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
You know, that was many, many years ago, and to this day, it is still my #1 moment in broadcasting. You think, well, you know, you're going to have a lot of others then. You know, it's early in your career. Nothing has topped that.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm glad I could have been a part of bringing it here
Thank you.
to the ball game.
It's great to see Pudge out here tonight as Middlebrooks takes ball 1. A few years ago, you know, Carlton Fisk was here, came into the booth with us when the Red Sox were playing the Blue Jays. And it was an inning in which I think the Blue Jays scored 8 runs. So we're talking about things, and the Blue Jays are sending guys around the bases. And a fly ball, just missing that one, is Middlebrooks. Fly ball to left field, and Matt Joyce is there to retire the side. And a 1-2-3 inning for Joel Peralta. And the Rays looking for some insurance runs. That's who's coming up in the ninth for Tampa Bay. All Night in America, presented by Chevrolet. And the game billed as a pitcher's duel between Josh Beckett and David Price proved to be just that, a scoreless game, until the Red Sox took a 1-0 lead in the 6th, only to see Tampa Bay get 2 in the 7th. Scott Podsednik moves to center field and Marlon Byrd to right. And the new pitcher is Rich Hill, the 32-year-old left-hander who's from the Boston area, facing Matt Joyce, who was 1 for 3 with a single and scored the go-ahead run. 0-1 the count to Joyce. Ground ball right to Kevin Youkilis, flips to Hill, and Joyce is retired, 1 gone in the top of the 9th. And warming up for the Rays, Fernando Rodney. All he's done is 15 out of 15 in save opportunities. And you consider that Kyle Farnsworth is on the disabled list. Interesting that Andrew Bailey for the Red Sox as well. So both of the team's closers on the DL.
And the job that Fernando Rodney has done has been incredible.
In with the Tigers, very colorful closer, and the first pitch is a breaking ball missing 1-0 to Ben Zobrist.
Well, and Boston goes out, gets Andrew Bailey to bring in, obviously to replace Jonathan Papelbon late in the game, and he goes out with a thumb. Kyle Farnsworth was a late coming out of spring training to the disabled list. So that's why I think that you saw that Boston bullpen in flux early in the season. Had a bunch of guys out there transitioning to roles that they've never done. Not only had they not done them, but they didn't even spend spring training working on those roles.
Aceves, who's now the closer, was hoping to be a starter. And the pitch is in tight, 2-1 to Zobrist. And don't forget Daniel Bard, who had been the setup man for Papelbon, making the adjustment as a starter now. There's Bard. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and Rich Hill falling behind Zobrist, 3-1. Luke Scott is on deck for the Rays, who lead it 2-1 here in the top of the 9th inning. Red Sox will have the bottom third of their order coming up in the bottom of the 9th against Rodney. And you would think it would be Rodney unless the Rays get a bunch here. Zobrist draws a 1-out walk. Here are the poll results from the Twitter. Who has the best Ken Rosenthal nerd outfit? And it was easily Bow Tie Price. You think it's because he towers over the other two?
I don't know, but that's a landslide victory.
Well, speaking of victories, you wonder how Luke Scott feels. Scott driving in the go-ahead run, and there is Ken Rosenthal. And I personally don't think Ken Rosenthal is that much of a nerd. I don't know why they have to use that phrase in relation to Ken. Ken, I'm just kidding. You know that.
Dick, my family thinks I'm a nerd. It's okay. I'm all good.
Joe Madden, he couldn't wait, and he paid homage to you and having his entire team wear bow ties, and he knows how much you've done for charity in that respect. 1-0 the count to Luke Scott. And the throw actually hit Zobrist and bounded away. Not far enough for an advance. But Luke Scott, who was hit by the pitch in the 9th inning, which set off the dugouts clearing, and then delivering a single, knocking in the go-ahead run in the 7th to give the Rays the 2-1 lead. 2-0 now to Scott.
Rich Hill struggling with the strike zone right now. He's got that crossfire action, trying to spray that fastball away from Luke Scott after walking Ben Zobrist. And there is Alfred Aceves.
Hoping he gets an opportunity. Throw to first base. By the way, We talked about Andrew Bailey. Well, the Red Sox traded an outfielder that they probably could use, Josh Reddick, for Andrew Bailey, and he hit his 13th home run for the Oakland A's today. And that's what happens sometimes in the baseball world when you make deals and you see how things work out. Fouled at the plate, and it's 2-1.
Boy, to have 13 home runs already when you're playing your home games at the Coliseum.
Wow.
I mean, that's where fly balls go to die. So, very impressive there by Reddick.
He's playing his own version of Moneyball.
Yes.
2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out. Zobrist, the runner at first base, against Rich Hill, the third Red Sox pitcher. Scott fouls it off, and it's 2-2. Red Sox middle infielders are bunched together with Pedroia playing relatively deep at second, and then the shortstop Mike Aviles playing to the right of second, and well, you see it there, and Middlebrooks playing usually where the shortstop goes.
Basically giving up that third base position. This is basically the same shift that they had on earlier in the game that Luke Scott was able to foil and get that ball out into right center field.
There goes the runner. Zobrist goes, and the throw to second on a bounce, not in time. And Zobrist with a stolen base. That's the second stolen base for Tampa Bay tonight. So with 1 out, Zobrist is in scoring position, and the count is full to Luke Scott. On deck is Drew Sutton. Rays looking for an insurance run. Rich Hill facing Luke Scott, the DH tonight. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and a ground ball. Youkilis will flip to Hill for the second out as Zobrist goes to third. And there are 2 down. Let's take a look at the AL East standings. The Orioles losing to the Royals. And if the Rays go on and hold their 2-1 lead, they will move into a tie for first place. And the Red Sox could drop now 2 under 500. And a game and a half behind Toronto. Here's Sutton, 0 for 3, has struck out his last 2 times up. Strike. Again, the Red Sox scheduled hitters in the bottom of the ninth are Daniel Nava, Kelly Shopik, and Marlon Byrd, bottom third of the order. Oh, 0-2 now. Ben Zobrist is at third. He walked, stole second, went to third on a ground ball to the right side. And left-hander Rich Hill trying to keep it a 2-1 game. And a comebacker. Hill made sure he had it, makes the play, and that'll do it. Fernando Rodney will be looking for his 16th save in 16 opportunities. He'll be coming in the Red Sox with their last chance in the bottom of the ninth, 2-1 in favor of the Rays. He's 8-4, but trail 2-1, and Fernando Rodney now 15 for 15 in saves after a 1-2-3 ninth last night. And Rodney will be facing Daniel Nava, and then Nick Punto is in the on-deck circle. He'll bat for Kelly Shoppett, and Marlon Byrd is the third scheduled hitter. Nava was out on strikes, walked, and grounded to third. One and 0 to Nava.
Well, the one thing that Fernando Rodney, what he has separated himself this year is with his command. I mean, he's been a guy that's always had a pretty good fastball, a pretty good put-away changeup. But this year, throwing strikes, 23 2/3 innings of work, just 3 walks.
1-1 now to Daniel Nava.
And the other thing that stands out about Fernando Rodney is that you look at the miles per hour difference between his fastball and his changeup. He'll throw that fastball 95, 97, and then come back with a changeup that's 80, 82, anywhere from 15 to 17.
And falls behind 2-1. Nava 0 for 2 against Fernando Rodney. Rays trying to nail down their 4th straight victory and get back to 500 on the road. And pitch is fouled off, and it's 2-2. Madden looking for the closeout, and Valentine looking for the comeback win, or at least getting the game even. Staying alive is Daniel Nava.
Well, if they're able to come back and tie this ball game up, or even win this ball game off Fernando Rodney, they will have earned it, because he has been absolutely locked in. You know, he came into that ball game last night after the fireworks in the 9th inning. His first 2 pitches of the inning, he missed badly, and you wondered if maybe the emotions were involved, but he was able to settle down and get a pop out on a full count, and then get the last 2 outs relatively easily.
No earned runs in the last 16 outings, and the count is full, 3-2 to Nava. Trying to get aboard here in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, that's what you're looking for if you're Boston. You need a base runner. Try to apply some sort of pressure to Rodney. He's had an easy go of it most of the times he's gone out there. Just the 1 earned run given up this year.
Red Sox crowd in full throat as Nava fouls it off again. Rodney, a free agent signee after 2 years with the Angels, and he had 37 saves for the Tigers back in 2009. Big pitch coming up here. 3-2 to the leadoff hitter. And ball 4, and Nava's aboard. Tying runners at first base here in the 9th, with Nick Punto coming up to pinch hit. And here is tonight's Burger King smooth play of the game.
Well, 1 out in the 6th inning. Adrian Gonzalez line drive into left center, and B.J. Upton. I mean, look at the carry on this throw. 1 hop, perfectly placed. Dustin Pedroia way wide there, not even able to make a slide attempt. Jose Molina, a nice job of sealing off home plate.
And then Middlebrook hit a ball that glanced off of Sean Rodriguez to knock in the Red Sox run. They trail 2-1. Here is Punto, who's 3 for 7 against Rodney. Sutton is playing well in at third, looking for the bunt, and he pushed down a beauty. The only play is to first base in time. And on the sacrifice, Nava goes into scoring position with 1 out. And Jared Saltalamacchia will come up to pinch hit.
Well, Nick Punto can handle the bat. You see the infielders all moving. Jose Molina heading down to third. Drew Sutton comes in and makes the play, but that pushes out the runner, Daniel Nava, into scoring position here with 1 out. And Saltalamacchia is going to come to the plate here. He's a better left-handed hitter. He prefers the ball down, somewhat close to him.
And Saltalamacchia has been a tremendous offensive force for the Red Sox. He has been a big plus offensively, and here he is. Saltalamacchia facing Rodney with 1 out. Nava at second, represents the tying run. Big swing and a miss. Strike 1.
How about that? Power on power. Fernando Rodney comes with 97. Saltalamacchia with a big swing. And he is hot. Look at that. Last 25 games, big numbers.
Nava with the lead at second. And a fly ball to right field. Zobrist is going back, way back, and it's gone! A home run! A walk-off home run by pinch hitter Jared Saltalamacchia, and the Red Sox win it 3-2. That is the 10th comeback win of the year for the Red Sox. And Fernando Rodney, who had 15 saves in as many opportunities, fails to get this one. And Saltalamacchia, with his first career walk-off home run, a 2-run drive, wins the game here.
Well, he comes in hot. Left side more natural and gets a fastball down and in and put a great swing on it. A no-doubter.
Producer of tonight's game, Jeff Gowan. Director, John Lynch, or Jim Lynch, we should say. John Lynch is my football partner. The associate directors, Wayne Wilson, and the associate producer, Andy Cavanaugh. Technical producer, Sid Drexler, and technical director, Simon Benazra. Pre-game show produced by Ethan Kleinberg and directed by Mark Deaver. The coordinating producers are Mike Santini and Don Bowie. So that's the story here. The Red Sox win it 3-2. So for Brian Anderson and Ken Rosenthal, Dick Stockton saying so long. Baseball night in America. The Red Sox beat the Rays.